Come on, Mac, you've got to eat up something.
No, I can't. My stomach's in a knot.
It'll do you good. You know that. You're a doctor.
Was a doctor.
Is still a doctor. And is still going to be a doctor. So come on, stop feeling sorry for yourself and eat up.
The condemned man's hearty breakfast, is it?
You're not a condemned man.
Come on, Kate, you heard what happened in court yesterday. I know you're trying to cheer me up, and I really appreciate it, but let's face it, I'm nearly dead and buried.
Rubbish. Now, you heard what Rachel said. She warned you to expect a rough ride.
No, and I did expect it. At least I thought I did. It's a nightmare. I didn't do anything, Kate. I'm innocent.
Exactly. You're innocent, and now you've got the chance to show that on the stand today. The jury's only got to look at you to know you're not guilty.
You reckon?
I know. You're a good man, Mac. They'd have to be blind not to see that.
Well, you didn't, did you? And you're my wife. What the hell chance have I got with 12 complete strangers?
Wonder how Mac's feeling this morning.
It's about time you got your priorities right, Joe. Who cares how he's feeling? I hope he's feeling scared. I hope he's feeling guilty and ashamed. He's about to get exactly what he deserves.
Don't start again, Dad, please.
And you carried on working for the man all this time. I don't know what your Nan would think.
I'm sure he didn't do it. And even if he did, it was what Nan wanted. You've said the same.
She didn't know what she was doing half the time. It was up to us to look out for her. We failed, Joe. We let Mac take her from us.
He didn't do anything wrong. And I think deep down you know that.
I may not have been able to help her at the end, but believe me, I'm going to do everything I can for her now.
Well, then why don't you start by thinking about what she would have wanted?
I'm not sure he's any better this morning.
He was up half the night. Just need some sleep, don't you, Poppet? It's just a bug. Give him 24 hours and he'll be fine.
I hope so.
Just give him some paracetamol to keep his temperature down and let him sleep.
Yeah. Are you going in now?
I have to, Phil. You know what it's like.
You were there late enough last night.
I'm the senior partner at the moment. I have to try and keep things running. Take care, sweetheart. Try and get some sleep and I'll be back as soon as I can.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh, come on, you two. Chin up. Today's our day.
I'm always sympathetic, breaking bad news to patients. I tell them to be optimistic. I tell them that I know how they feel, all that meaningless stuff. Ironic, isn't it? Now it's my turn. I don't find the professional pep talk quite so reassuring.
It's not a pep talk, it's the truth.
I wish I had your confidence.
I've been here many times before, Mac.
Yeah, well, for me, I hope it's the first and the last.
You can say that again. Come on, let's show them we've still plenty of fight left.
Yeah, problem is, I don't know who I am fighting.
Just make sure it's not yourself. Take the stand with conviction, courage. Go out there and show them you've nothing to be scared of because you've got nothing to hide.
Cheers.
Just answer me one thing, Dad.
What?
At the end, do you really think that she didn't know her own mind? That she didn't really want to die?
She was on a lot of medication, Joe.
Yes, I know. But do you honestly think that she didn't want to die?
Don't make any more appointments for me today, Ruth.
Oh.
I've got a few visits now and some paperwork I need to catch up on this afternoon.
Okay. I don't have any visits done on the computer for you, though.
I'll sort it out when I get back.
Mrs. Preble not here yet? No, nor is she likely to be. She phoned earlier to cancel and to say that she'd signed on at the health centre.
Oh.
Well, carry on like this, and we won't have any patients left.
Oh, come on, it's not that bad. We're not sunk yet. Mac's going to get off, and we've new patients registering every day.
Are you sure?
We'll check the records.
I meant about Mac getting off.
Oh. Well, yes, of course. Innocent people don't get found guilty, do they?
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Rana, what are you doing here? You don't work here anymore, remember?
I just wanted to know how Mac was getting on.
I just thought you were too busy for social visits.
Oh, absolutely snowed under. But I'm my own boss now. I set the timetable, I make the rules.
Of course you do.
I was just passing, and like I said, I wanted to know how Mac was doing. Just because I don't work for him anymore doesn't mean to say I don't care.
Hey, okay. Let's just go and have a coffee. You can tell me all about the wild and wonderful world of big business.
So there'll have to be a quick one. Got a very important meeting to prepare for this afternoon.
Turning to the matter of the prescription, we've heard evidence that you've changed your statements concerning taking the repeat prescription for Mrs. Helm.
That is correct.
How do you explain that?
To start with, I was unsure as to whether Mrs. Helm's death was due to natural causes, whether she had killed herself, or whether a member of her family had eased her death. I wanted time to establish exactly what had happened before taking any action.
We've also heard in evidence that you were prepared to sign the death certificate before making inquiries, and it was Sheila Gibson who alerted the authorities regarding her concerns. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Therefore, were it not for Nurse Gibson's interventions, the true cause of death would not have been uncovered. Is that also correct?
Yes.
So how do you justify your actions?
My concern was for Mrs. Helm. Her being dead didn't stop her being my patient. I wanted her wishes to be taken into account.
In what way?
Well, you've heard what you wanted. You've heard how she talked to me. You've seen the letter. She wanted to die. I wasn't able to help her. Maybe someone else was.
Are you saying you lied to protect Jack Helm because you thought he had helped his mother? Had helped his mother end the terrible agony that she was suffering on a daily basis?
My Lord, counsel's clearly leading the witness here.
Thank you. Miss Whiting.
My Lord, please answer the question in your own words.
Look, I lied at the time to protect Jessie's wishes, to protect her dignity, and to protect the family from any further needless suffering.
You've just said in your evidence that you wanted to protect Jessie's dignity and her wishes, and that you thought her son Jack may have helped her where you were unable to. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Why is it that you were unable to help her?
Because I didn't know.
What?
I didn't know what to do. I knew she was suffering, and I didn't know if it was right to end it. I am a doctor. That's all I am. And it was my job to keep her alive. I'm not a religious man. I have no idea what might or might not be waiting for us after this. I don't believe in an afterlife. But if I did, then maybe I would have been, brave enough to help her when she wanted me to. But I wasn't. And I didn't. And I don't blame anyone who did.
My Lord, no further questions. Dr. Maguire, would you please remain as my colleague may wish to watch?
Sorry, Joe.
What for?
Dan?
Dr. Maguire, we've all listened to the evidence, the police report, the witness statements, how you lied about delivering the prescription, how you failed to disclose information to the police, and then changed your statement. You've lied to the police, Dr. Maguire. You've lied to Mrs. Helm's family. In fact, you've lied to everyone and everybody ever since the beginning of this whole sad business, and now you would ask us to believe that you are suddenly telling the truth.
I am telling the truth.
My Lord, may I ask permission to refer to Exhibit 6? Dr. Maguire, could you look closely at the letter before you? Do you recognise this letter?
Yes, this is the letter that Jessie Helm wrote to me shortly before her death.
And the letter begins, "Thanks for your support."
Yes, it does.
Would you read further, please?
I know that you have only been my doctor for a short while since Dr. Rawlings has been away. It has been a great comfort for me to know that you have been here. You may have been surprised by my recent conversation, but I know you are on my side and believe that what I want is right. You are very understanding. I am determined to go through with this. I can't go on. No animal would be allowed to suffer this pain. I know I can count on you. Thank you for all your help.
And she did count on you, didn't she, Dr. Maguire?
Well, not in the way this letter implies, no.
Why were you so keen to sign the death certificate?
I told you to protect the family from further pain.
You wanted things all neat and tidy.
I wanted the family to be able to mourn her death properly. I saw no purpose in prolonging things.
Prolonging her life, you mean?
That's not what I said.
There's a lot of things you didn't say and haven't said, isn't there?
My conscience is clear.
Your conscience is clear. Does that mean you don't regret your actions?
I regret this farce of a trial, if that's what you mean.
Dr. Maguire, this is a court of law, and we all have our duties. So I would kindly ask you to refrain from any comments and answer the questions put to you.
Thank you, my lord. Is something amuses you, Dr. Maguire?
No.
Because if there is something amuses you in the painful murder of a defenceless old woman, I'm sure we'd all like to hear it.
My lord, counsel is baiting the defendant.
Move on, Mr. Carey.
Do you accept the evidence that Jessie Helm died of a prescription drugs overdose?
Yes, I do.
Do you also accept, then, that your actions in covering that up would indicate that you feel whoever was responsible should be shielded from the due process of law?
I don't feel that anyone should be punished for what transpired, so yes, that is what I think.
I need to see Helen. I've tried her mobile, but it's switched off.
She's out on visits.
Phil, what's up?
It's Dan. I'm really worried about him.
Hello, sweetheart. Oh, yeah, he's burning up. Bring him through.
I just wish we could do, I don't know, normal things like couples do. Go to the theatre, have lunch in public without worrying about being seen.
You can come to the restaurant.
You are a very bad man. Anyway, I can't. Not today.
Soon, then.
Soon.
In the meantime, let's not waste any more time. Life's too short.
When did he start vomiting?
About an hour ago.
And he's been running a temperature since last night?
Yeah, and complaining of headaches.
I need to give him penicillin.
Why? What's wrong, Caroline?
I'm not 100% sure, Phil, but I think it could be meningitis. We need to get him to the hospital.
You may step down, Dr. Maguire.
How did you?
I was proud of him.
He's going to be fine, Karen.
He'd better be. Funny how your life can change in a heartbeat.
Helen, I've been trying to get hold of you.
Oh, my mobile's playing up. I think it's the battery.
You need to get to the hospital, Helen.
Why?
It's Dan.
What's happening?
They've done a lumbar puncture.
Well, what do you mean? What's that?
They think it's meningitis, Phil.
Is he going to be all right?
Listen, he doesn't have a rash, so hopefully it's viral meningitis, but they're checking his spinal fluid just to find out.
I don't understand.
Viral meningitis is less serious. You've probably heard of bacterial meningitis. That's the more serious one.
Well, he's not going to die, is he?
Listen, if it is viral meningitis, he should be fine. But we need to check, give him the right treatment.
Well, when will we know?
In an hour or so.
Where the hell's Helen?
My lord, I call Gerald Hennessy.
Call Gerald Hennessy.
Phil, what's happened?
Where have you been? I've been trying to call you.
What's going on?
They've done a lumbar puncture. They think that Dan's got viral meningitis.
There's no rash?
No.
Oh, thank goodness. I should have seen it.
There was nothing to see, Helen. You know how hard it is to spot. Listen, I'm sure he's going to be fine. I've got to get back to the surgery.
Thanks a million, Caroline, really.
I should have been there.
Yeah, you should.
It's all my fault.
Did you love your wife, Mr. Hennessy?
More than anything in the world.
You've told the court that Dr. Maguire treated your wife after a terrible accident. Can you tell the court exactly what happened?
Our heating ventilation failed. We were both suffocating, about to die. My wife was unconscious, and I was nearly so.
And what happened next?
Dr. Maguire broke into the house, took us both through to the garden. I wasn't so bad myself, but my wife was, well, she was nearly gone.
Go on.
I asked Dr. Maguire to let her go.
To die, you mean?
Miss Whiting, you are coming dangerously close to asking questions which may be perceived as self-incriminating.
I'm obliged, my lord. Did you ask him to let her die?
Yes?
You asked him to let her die?
Yes.
Even though you loved her?
More than life itself.
Why then would you ask for such a thing?
She was already seriously ill. Terminally, sir. She had no independent ability to walk, to talk, to feed herself. She was in pain, and she was suffering. It was all I had left that I could do for her.
And what did Dr. Maguire do?
He refused my request. He revived her. He made sure she was alive and taken to hospital, and they did all they could to save her.
And do you blame him for that?
No. Oh, no. Dr. Maguire is one of the most genuine and honourable people I know. I shouldn't have asked him. It wasn't his job to let her go.
What do you mean by that?
Enough. You don't have to say any more, Gerald.
My lord. Dr. Maguire, you will remain seated and silent unless addressed directly by the court. Any more interruptions and I shall find you in contempt.
Yes, my lord.
Proceed.
How long had you and your wife been patients of Dr. Maguire?
A great number of years.
You've told the court that you asked Dr. Maguire to let your wife die and he refused. Did he give a reason?
He doesn't believe in euthanasia, so he couldn't help my wife like that. Even though I begged him. Even though he knew how much she was suffering.
No further questions, my lord.
Mac, what on earth did you think you were doing in there?
He was going to admit to trying to kill himself and his wife.
No, he wasn't. The judge warned him not to incriminate himself, and Rachel had briefed him on every question he was going to be asked.
Kate, he could go to prison.
Mac, you could go to prison.
But I didn't do anything.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
If anything happens to him...
He's going to be all right. You heard what Caroline said. At least we're both here for him now.
I can't believe I didn't see it. My own son. I just wasn't paying attention. My mind was elsewhere.
What do you mean?
Nothing. Nothing.
My lord, I would like to make an application to recall Jack Helm.
No, my lord, I've had no notice of this. Counsel's had plenty of opportunity to cross-examine.
I do hope, Miss Whiting, that this has some bearing on the case that we are dealing with.
I have new evidence that has only just now come into my hands.
Very well.
It's clear.
Oh, thank God.
What's happened?
It's not bacterial, Mr. Thompson. It's viral meningitis. He's going to be fine.
Thank you.
We'll keep him in for a while. Let him recuperate.
Thank you.
You see? I was right.
I would remind you, Mr. Helm, that you are still under oath.
Yes.
Mr. Helm, how was your relationship with your mother?
We were very close. I was living with her towards the end.
And were you always very close?
We had our disagreements. All families do.
Disagreements? And how long did your last disagreement last?
A while.
It was for well over a year, in fact, was it not?
That's right.
And why was that?
My wife and her didn't get on.
Oh, so you took your wife's side?
Yes.
So you didn't talk to your mother for what transpired to be the last year of her life, apart from those few precious weeks at the end?
Yes.
And how did that make you feel?
Didn't make me feel good.
Well, did it make you feel guilty, angry?
My lord.
Sorry, my lord. Please, in your own words, describe how you felt.
It was a useless waste. Her dying was a senseless, useless waste. I could never take back the time I lost. I felt useless, and I felt angry. And yes, I did feel guilty.
And there is nothing you wouldn't have done to make it up to her, is there?
No. Nothing I wouldn't have done.
I can stay if you like. You know, if you need to go back to work.
No. I should have been here when they brought him to hospital. I'm going to be here when he wakes up. I'm going to be here.
In the previous testimony you had given, you advised the court that you had not seen your mother on that morning of the discovery of her death because you had a meeting, is that correct?
Yes.
But I have here a letter confirming that you were, in fact, in Birmingham on that morning.
Yes.
And it wasn't a business meeting, was it?
No, I never said it was. It was personal business.
And would you care to tell the court the nature of that business?
My lord, I fail to see the relevance of Miss Whiting's line of questioning.
It will become clear. You were, in fact, at a meeting with Sanderson and Sons, were you not?
Yes.
And what is the nature of their business? Please, answer the question.
They're monumental masons.
They are a firm of monumental masons and undertakers, are they not?
Yes.
And could you tell the court the purpose of this meeting?
I was arranging my mother's burial.
I see. So on the very morning of your mother's death, you were at the undertaker's arranging for her funeral. Do you not find that extremely coincidental?
No, I don't.
Would you care to explain why not?
She asked me to go. She arranged the appointment. I think she knew.
She knew what?
She knew she wasn't going to be alive the next day. I don't think she wanted me to be the one to find her dead. She asked me to help her die. I refused her. I couldn't do it. She knew that. I don't think she wanted me to be there when it happened.
There's the other possibility that you were at the undertaker's because you knew she was already dead.
No, that's not true. I wish it were.
In your own words, there wasn't anything you wouldn't have done for her. You helped her to die, didn't you, Mr. Helm?
No.
I put it to you, that's why you left the house early. And I put it to you, that's why you were making funeral arrangements, because you knew, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
My lord, defence counsel's clearly badgering the witness.
Miss Whiting, I would ask that you give Mr. Helm the opportunity to answer your questions.
My lord, Mr. Helm, is it not true that you already knew that your mother was dead?
My mother brought us all up on her own. It was a struggle for her doing it. But she did it with pride, and she did it with dignity. And I never once heard her complain. And we never felt, any of us, any less loved or less part of a real family than anyone else we knew. My mother never once asked for pity. She never asked for sympathy. She never once asked for help. From me, from my brothers, from any of us. Until then, at the end, when she was in such pain, when she was suffering so unbearably, at the end, finally, she reached out and asked me to help her.
And you did help her, didn't you? That one time she asked you.
At the end, I let her down. Just like I let her down all through my life. I knew she was in pain. I knew how she felt. I just shut my ears. I just shut my ears and I walked away. That was the one thing I couldn't do for her. Because I was too weak. That's why I wanted Dr. Maguire punished. That's why I wanted to find somebody else to blame. Anybody else. Because it stopped me thinking about how I'd let her down. Not because he or anybody else had done anything wrong, but because I didn't do what was right. I wasn't strong enough to help my mum when she asked me. Even then, she didn't blame me. She just sent me away so I wouldn't have to deal with it. Instead of feeling grateful, I just felt guilty. That's why I was looking for blame. Because I couldn't deal with that. But the truth is, there is no blame. My mother wanted to end her own suffering. And just like every other problem she faced in her life, she found a way to do it.
Mr. Helm, if you were the jury in this court today, would you find Dr. Brendan Maguire guilty of murder?
My lord. Miss Whiting.
No. No.